It's time for Waking Up with Wesley. Today's forecast and weather-wide discussion with WLOX First Alert Weather's senior meteorologist, Wesley Williams.
Waking Up with Wesley is sponsored by Exclusive Auto Brokers. For the best deals on wheels, visit Exclusive Auto Brokers on Beatline Road in Long Beach.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'm Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams. Thank you for waking up with Wesley. So it's about the time for Father's Day weekend. We'll take a look at the forecast into the upcoming weekend to see what to expect. We've also been talking a whole lot this morning, if you were up earlier during Good Morning Mississippi, about how today is Friday the 13th. Ooh, so spooky. And for reference, in case you didn't know, this is actually the only Friday the 13th of this year. Sometimes you can get multiple ones in a year. I think next year there's going to be 3 of them. So the next Friday the 13th actually comes up next February, in February of 2026. And Bill mentioned a good point during GMM. He said, okay, well, if Friday the 13th is in February, Friday the 14th is always Valentine's Day in February. So, you know, you got quite the mashup there heading into next February. By the way, the most recent Friday the 13th was actually last month in December of 2024. But yeah, this time around, we're going to take a look at the weather forecast. There's already been some rain in some places this morning, and I think today could be wetter than yesterday. I'll explain why as we get things started this morning. So first of all, let's take a look at yesterday's rain map. So you're looking at the 6 southernmost counties in Mississippi, and you're seeing some places that did not get rained on at all. Places that were close to Lyman, for example, places that were close to Van Cleve. They didn't get much rain on Thursday. Some places near and east of Poplarville. But there obviously were places that did get rained on during Thursday. That was parts of Biloxi, St. Martin, Ocean Springs, D'Iberville saw some rain. Maybe areas near Gulf Park Estates saw some rain. Plenty of places near the Kill and near Diamond Head saw some rain on Thursday. You also saw some rain not too far from Loosedale. So there were some places with rain on Thursday. But if we take a look at the last few days, you'll notice that, you know, Thursday was a day when some saw rain, but not everyone. Wednesday was a day when some saw rain, but not everyone. But back earlier this week, Tuesday, and if you remember the day before that, Monday, that was rain everywhere. Now, why did we get this change up, this switch up? Well, if you've been watching Waking Up with Wesley this week, you already know the answer to that question. We took a deep dive earlier this week into the upper levels of the atmosphere, and we discussed how there's this kind of bubble of high pressure that we were wondering, would this weak area of high pressure help to reduce our local rain coverage on Wednesday? It did. From Tuesday to Wednesday, we saw fewer places get rained on. Even though some places still had a big downpour, not everyone saw the rain. The same thing happened on Thursday. I guess there were some remnants of that bubble of high pressure, but I'm telling you today, it is completely gone. And so because there's no high pressure anywhere around, I think it will be really easy for us to see a wetter day than we saw yesterday and Wednesday. So places that maybe have been missing out on the rain the last couple of days, maybe today is your day. I think the chance will be a little bit higher. The coverage will also be higher as well. Here's what we find on First Alert Radar this morning. There are already some showers and thunderstorms in South Mississippi. We were tracking rain in Pascagoula a few hours ago. At this moment in time, there aren't as many showers in Jackson County as there were a couple of hours ago. But there are some thunderstorms that have persisted over South Louisiana all morning. And Lafayette has been seeing quite a bit of rain in their neck of the woods, Lafayette, Louisiana. And you can see a lot of lightning with that activity as well off to our west. The general thinking is that this area of rain and thunderstorms, first of all, is moving very slowly. But if it can hold itself together, the steering currents upstairs in the atmosphere are actually going to steer that area of showers and storms toward the east. So there is a possibility that we could see some of that moving toward South Mississippi as we head into parts of Friday PM. But a lot of caveats, right? What if it falls apart before it gets here? That's a possibility. Or, what if it slows down so much and it doesn't get here until much later than expected? That's also a possibility. So it's something to keep in mind as we go through your Friday. In general, at some point over the next 12 to 15 hours, could see that area of Louisiana storms become something that is moving through our part of the map here in South Mississippi. Now, you can't miss it. The swirl on this map of low pressure located near Missouri this morning. I'll point it out for you in case you can't see it, but just it's spinning like a swirly spinning top right there. So that is low, and we are on the eastern side of that low. What that means is that we are in the prime position for rain to easily form. Because remember, around a low pressure circulation, which direction does the wind go? Say it with me, counterclockwise. So that means that on the left or west side of that low, you got the winds coming down like this. I'm going to pause this so that there's less motion. But on the right side of the low where we are, you have the winds coming around like this. And so with the winds going basically from southwest to northeast or south to north in Mississippi, that's going to keep us on the wet side of things, because look at where the air or the wind is coming from. It's coming from the Gulf. Plentiful atmospheric moisture in the Gulf being pulled across the deep south, and this makes it really easy for rain to develop on the wet side, the right side of that low. And this is very similar to what we hear during hurricane season a lot. We always tell you about the front right side of a tropical system or a hurricane. Well, similarly, in our part of the map on the Gulf Coast, when we have a low west of us in the plains, we are on the right side of it, and that's going to be the wet side of things. If we wanted to be on the dry side of the low, that would be back in this neck of the woods. And it's really not like completely dry, but it certainly is relatively drier. The area that I've circled in brown has way less rain on it compared to the area that I've circled in green. So if you wanted to be on the drier side of the low, where there's still some rain, but it's nowhere near as much, we'd have to be back there. And that's not going to happen for us until we can get this low to move away. And we'll track that low's motion for you in a few minutes on Futurecast. But let's talk about today. Today, the rain is a possibility anywhere near and east of Texas. You can see the map has some colors on it. Our part of the map has green and blue colors, even bright blue colors, indicating some of our local rain totals through early Saturday could approach 2 inches. That means there is a risk of flooding. The probability of flooding is very low, but it is not zero, so it is something to keep in mind. The future radar shows some rain trying to move in from the west, especially during the PM hours. So that's why our rain chances this morning, they're not zero, but they are relatively lower. But compared to the rain chances this afternoon, and the map, the green on the map is taking up the whole area. So the chances to see rain and a greater rain coverage, certainly compared to yesterday, it's going to be increasing as we go to the Friday PM time frame. And a lot of that could be because of that Louisiana rain moving in. It's just a matter of exactly what hour will that happen. And I'm telling you, it's probably not going to be easy to predict that because of the slow and erratic movement. If it even makes it here, if it ever makes it here, it just seems like the most precise I can give you is just PM. So at any point between 12 p.m. and 11:59 p.m., that area of rain from Louisiana will arrive in South Mississippi, or it will fall apart as it is trying to arrive in South Mississippi. So that's the most accurate information that I can give you. Here's a look at the forecast for your Friday the 13th. Other than the rain chances that we've talked about so much, there of course will be plenty of June heat. The temperature, just like the last several days, will make a run for 90 degrees, and the heat index will also make a run for about 100 degrees. Now, into Father's Day weekend, there is going to be a similar chance for rain, even though it will be for a different reason. You see, the reason for the rain stays the same today and tomorrow. It's because we are on the wet side of a low. The reason for the rain changes, and it's a different reason on Father's Day Sunday, even though it's a similar chance. We can get into what I'm talking about as we take a look at this futurecast, which will track the position of that low. Today, I've highlighted it where you've got the low causing greater rain coverage, and that's right on our part of the map for Friday. As we go from Friday to Saturday, the low is slowly moving eastward, but we can still see some rain near our part of the map on Saturday as well. You know, depends on what time of day Saturday. It's hard to tell you, perhaps mainly during the PM hours, but it could be at any point on Saturday, AM or PM, seeing those higher rain chances. But then finally, going from Saturday to Sunday, that low moves east of us and we are no longer on the wet side of the low. But look, the map is still showing rain in some places along the Gulf Coast. And why is that happening? Well, in order to understand that, we have to look a little bit upstairs in the air. So let's take a look at Sunday's upper pattern. And you can see that low sitting over eastern Kentucky, but what's happening is as that low is moving away from us, there's a big ridge of high pressure that's starting to build in. You've got the Bermuda high that's expanding westward. You also have a plains high pressure that is growing in strength and size as well. And in South Mississippi, we're going to see higher pressure from Saturday to Sunday as that low pressure moves away from us. But there's this weakness in this pressure ridge right through here. And that weakness in the high pressure means the high pressure will be weaker over South Mississippi as compared to areas east of us in Florida and west of us in West Texas. So because the high pressure is weaker on Sunday for Father's Day, it's not going to do a good job of stopping the rain chances. It might not be as much rain as we see today and tomorrow, but I don't think it's going to be a completely dry day. Now, eventually, that high pressure ridge is going to strengthen and it's going to connect. The plains high connecting with the Bermuda high eventually at some point next week. Whenever that happens, that will help to reduce the rain chances as the high pressure grows in strength. Today it's unclear exactly what day next week that will happen, because some of the new information is suggesting that maybe that high pressure doesn't really get that strong next week, so we might just keep chances for rain each day. But you can see the gradual walk down of that rain chance, especially around or after Tuesday of next week. Perhaps we can get to some lower rain chances. Of course, this time of year, a lower rain chance means hotter weather. And so there's a very real possibility of seeing temperatures getting closer to 90 by that point in time, as we might see a bit of a less hot and wet pattern and more of a just hot pattern with fewer showers as we close in on the middle of next week. By the way, next week, if we take a look at the 10-day forecast, is going to be the official start of summer. Bear with me while this information loads. Okay, I think I've got it right there. Oops, that's not the 10-day. One moment. I've pulled up the 10-day temperatures, which could be interesting to look at. I was hoping that, I have to adjust my scale on there. I haven't messed with that graphic in a while. But let's take a look at the 10-day forecast. I wanted to show this because the official start of summer is next Friday. Today's Friday the 13th. So 7 days from today, 13 plus 7 is 20. So next Friday, June 20th, summer will officially start. And it's looking like it could be hotter in some places. Maybe not on the coast. I mean, on the coast, we're looking at highs around 90. But some of our inland areas could see highs approaching the mid-90s by the time we get to what will be the first official weekend of summer. Saturday, June 21st, Saturday, June 22nd, we are looking at highs ranging from 90 on the coast to the mid-90s inland. Of course, forecasts that are more than 7 days away from the present day could change greatly, so we'll see if there's any changes as we monitor the adjustments throughout the coming days. But just wanted to give you that heads up. If you are a summer lover, the calendar is finally about to say summer, even though our weather pattern has been saying summer, but the calendar is finally about to say summer by the time we get to next Friday, and you can make plans to do whatever you like doing during the first weekend of summer, official weekend of summer, next weekend, the 21st and the 22nd. Well, that'll do it for this Friday, the 13th edition of Waking Up with Wesley. I've been Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Take care, everyone.
Waking Up with Wesley has been sponsored by Exclusive Auto Brokers. For the best deals on wheels, visit Exclusive Auto Brokers on Beatline Road in Long Beach.